Slowdive is one of the most influential and popular groups to rise in the shoegaze genre, and probably also the most accessible. While My Bloody Valentine's Loveless is lauded as a masterpiece with its heavy and occasionally abrasive walls of guitar noise, Slowdive took a softer approach to the genre, creating cavernous soundscapes with layers of reverb and endless guitar effects. Coupled with the soft and distant vocals provided by Neil Halstead and Rachel Goswell, this more dream pop style of shoegaze would give them their smash hit album Savlaki, cementing tracks like When the Sun Hits as icons in the shoegaze movement. In 2021, many Slowdive fans, such as myself, were introduced to another Slowdive song when it was suddenly released to Spotify with absolutely no fanfare. It was an old recording from the 90s, a song named Sleep. It was hastily removed from the streaming service with a notice being released by Rachel Goswell alleging it was not an official release, but the result of a hacker gaining access to their account. However, whilst this was a new experience for me, this was not the first time that the world at large had heard this song. In fact, the song had been floating around the internet for decades beforehand, a forgotten demo that had leaked for all the world to hear. But what is the story behind this song? Why is there no official release of it? This is the story of Sleep, the masterpiece Slowdive never released. Slowdive were formed in Reading, England by Neil Halstead and Rachel Goswell on the heels of their previous band, the Pumpkin Fairies, breaking up. Following them from the Pumpkin Fairies was drummer Adrian Sell, who recruited his friend Nick Chaplin to play bass for the band. However, as they were in need of another guitarist, the newly formed Slowdive took an ad out in the papers, specifically calling for a female guitarist to audition. This ad only got one answer, from a man named Christian Saville. The story goes that Saville was so eager to join the band that he offered to wear a dress on stage to fulfill the requirements of the ad. Saville was accepted into the band and they quickly got to work on a demo tape, one that would land them a deal with Creation Records. Like the others, Saville had been in other bands before. Immediately before Slowdive, he had been a member of another shoegaze group, one named Eternal. They were signed to the obscure and now defunct Sarah Records, on which they only ever released one EP before disbanding. This EP was named Breathe and can easily be found on streaming services. Among the 4 tracks on the EP is a track named Sleep, a melancholy track that bears some resemblance to Slowdive's early work. However, after Eternal's disbandment, this EP sort of faded into obscurity, and Sleep would only appear again officially on Sarah Records' sampler CD Glass Arcade. It would, however, not be forgotten by Saville. After the release of their debut Just for a Day, Slowdive would return to the studio, writing and recording songs in earnest. They demoed a large selection of songs, including some like I Saw the Sun, and an electric guitar rendition of Dagger, a song that would end up on their second album Savlaki in a far more stripped-back style. During these sessions, Saville brought back Sleep, and the band recorded it. This version of Sleep bears some similarity to the original. The arrangement is largely the same, but the mix now largely emphasizes the bass and the string section. More guitars are also laid on top of the original composition, bringing the track in line with Slowdive's washed-out sensibilities. The lyrics have also been heavily reworked and are now delivered by Goswell. The result is unbelievable. The first time I heard this song, I was utterly transfixed by its beauty, and now truly believe it to be the finest 4 minutes of music Slowdive ever recorded. It is their greatest song, their masterpiece. So why wasn't it released? The answer lies in the relationship Slowdive had with the head of Creation Records, Alan McGee. Slowdive were already feeling self-conscious about the material recorded in these demos, as the press had been none too kind to their debut Just for a Day. But it only got worse when they presented the 40 songs they'd recorded and re-recorded over these sessions to McGee. According to Goswell, McGee's response to the demos was to say, "I see you've got no songs, they're all shit. So we had to scrap a load," Goswell said of this frank discussion. It was a shock at the time. She did go on to say it was a good thing in the end, as she believes what they recorded for Sublaki after this incident was better. But Sleep was amongst the songs axed by McGee, meaning it would never see an official release. But that wouldn't mean that we would never get to hear it. Details on how and when the 1992 demos made it out onto the internet are fuzzy and hard to distinguish from rumor. The only things that we know for certain is that these demos were not leaked by Halstead or Goswell, who have stated in interviews and Reddit AMAs that they do not have personal copies of the old demo tapes. In looking for answers, I saw some allege that drummer Simon Scott leaked the tapes, and some others allege that they came from Saville. However, it appears that the latter is the case. In a YouTube comment under an interview Saville gave, user Savlakis alleges that Saville made several copies of the demo tapes in the late 90s, which he mailed to people who emailed asking for them. The commenter reckons that most of the Slowdive demos online can be traced back to these tapes from the 90s. It is therefore most likely that this is how Sleep was leaked to the internet. It is vastly unfortunate that this song has never seen an official release. Despite the words of Alan McGee, it is far and away one of the best songs the band ever produced, and a high-definition release of the song would have been, and still would be, truly treasured by the fans. However, the low-definition tape rip has still shown itself to be massively popular. An upload of the track on YouTube has upwards of 13 million views, over twice the number as the views on their most popular official release, When the Sun Hits. It seems to have also established itself on the website as a lo-fi classic on its own right, as opposed to just an oddity for Slowdive fans. There are plenty of stories in the comments sections and Reddit threads on the song about people who discovered the band through this song. Despite its shaky history and being sidelined by a record label that didn't fully understand the band, it has endured. Even the band themselves have come around on the track. While they had hastily removed the illegal upload of the song from Spotify, on the 18th of May 2022 they would play it live for the first time in Bath, England. It has appeared on set lists a handful of times since, raising hopes that maybe, after long last, an official release may happen, be it of the original recording or a brand new recording. While I am skeptical of this myself, as it doesn't feature on the track list of their upcoming LP Everything Is Alive, it does bring me happiness to know that Slowdive has seen the love this song has garnered on the internet and is acknowledging it. At any rate, we do still have the original recording, and for myself at least, that is enough to appreciate it for the melancholy masterpiece it is.